What's up, guys? Welcome to Good Bad Wrestling No Holds Barred. This is the show where we dig up bad wrestling from the past and then bury it again. I am your host, John.
I'm Jack Brinks.
And today we are going to play the Feud. We found some episodes of Family Feud on YouTube that WWF, WWE, Stars, WCW, everybody's on there. But there's one in particular that we're going to talk about today. I linked it in the description below, so you can check that out and then come back and listen to it. It takes place in 1992. It's the promotional tool for WrestleMania 9, which go back and watch our watch along or listen to our watch along. And so it's kind of relevant to some stuff that we've just recently covered. Before we get to the Feud, though, you guys can find us on the socials. We're at Good Bad Wrestling on Instagram. We're on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, super kick the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the fun. You can find the podcast everywhere. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on Google. We're in the deepest, darkest corners of the internet, and you can't hide from us. All right. Ready to play the Feud?
Come on down. Wait, is that,
Wait,
is that a different one?
That's a different thing.
The Price is Wrong.
Okay, so...
Oh, no, that's...
We've got the forces of evil versus
the good guy
versus the forces of good. So what was it? Macho Man, Crush, Tatanka, Boss Man, and Slick.
Yeah.
Reverend Slick.
Don't forget it.
versus Jimmy Hart, Papa Shango, the Voodoo Man. Shawn Michaels, the male stripper.
The Repo Man, the Hamburglar.
And IRS, the human embodiment of the Internal Revenue Service.
Which we all hate, so that one makes sense.
And they are all in full costume. They're in their full gear.
Full gear. Tatanka
is a native with a red streak who is shirtless on the set of this game show.
Looking jacked.
Well, he looked jacked from the front, but he looked pudgy from the side.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird build.
Yeah, but maybe that's just 90s cameras. I don't know.
And you had Macho Man in full macho. In all his macho glory.
Yeah, he's captaining his team, and Shawn Michaels is captaining his team, the bad guys.
Yeah.
And the host, I can't remember the host name, Roddy. I don't remember. He was my introduction to the Feud. Was this guy? He goes over to meet the teams and find out what their charity is, because these two teams are playing for charity, even the bad guys. And Macho Man tells him that they're playing for Headlock. What is it? Headlock on Hunger?
So I kind of laughed. It was for hunger in Somalia, I think it was, that's great. Awesome. But it was a charity started by McMahon.
And not only was it a charity started by Vince McMahon, but the host had a gun to his head that he had to mention that it was started by Vince McMahon. He goes, I believe that was started by Vince McMahon. And Macho Man's like, yes, it was.
Well, in case any of you are wondering why we laugh at this, go back a couple weeks to our Who Said It episode. Donald Trump or Vince McMahon, and you'll get a good idea of why we think this is hilarious.
Well, what I thought it was really funny, because this is a world before the Mr. McMahon character. This is a world before Brett screwed Brett. No one knows on the outside that Vince McMahon is the CEO of the World Wrestling Federation. Yeah. They think he's the announcer. But on his insides, Mr. McMahon is not a fictional character. He forced them to mention that he started this charity. It's not enough to just have the charity. I want the credit for it, God damn it. And then he goes over to Shawn Michaels to find out what the bad guys' charity is. And he says it's like the blah, 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 Boy Scouts of America in Las Vegas, which is where WrestleMania 9 is going to be.
Weird.
Okay, that's convenient. And the host sees the Intercontinental title sitting on the desk. he goes, oh, what is this? He's reading it because he's never seen it before, and he goes, the intercontinental, and Shawn Michaels finishes his sentence and goes, yeah, the heavyweight championship. And he goes, you notice there's no belt on that side? Macho Man leaves his podium, leaves his desk to come over to Shawn Michaels and go, yeah, you got to be more than 150 pounds.
They had a couple funny moments of like taking cheap shots at each other that was just hilarious.
I love that Macho Man is giving him shit about being small. By the way, in 1992, Shawn Michaels was considered small. Yeah. He's like your size, if not bigger, and that was small. And then they do the whatever, like the apparently in this iteration of Family Feud, rather than just doing one, what is it called, Fast Money, the first little buzzer thing, they had what was called Bullseye, where it was everyone on each team ran through one of those, and then whichever team won got to start first. So they go up there, and the question I think was, what is Judy Garland known for?
Dude. I was dying.
Tatanka buzzes in first, and he says singing. And the announcer mocks him for saying singing like a pansy. He goes, oh, you look the way you look, and you are all singing. And then it's not up there. They go to Jimmy Hart.
But to be fair, right? Yes, it's not singing, but she did sing.
I mean, yeah, that's not a terrible answer. But then Jimmy Hart can't remember the Wizard of Oz.
Yellow Brick. I thought it was like a work, and he was like trying to make Tatanka look stupid. He's like, oh, the Yellow Brick Road, and oh man, what was that? I thought he was gonna snap back and go, oh, Wizard of Oz, idiot. But he just no clue.
I think either that or it was a work that the bad guys were supposed to lose this.
Oh, that could be
right. Yeah. It made him look like a fucking moron. I know that. And then they go over. I think one of the first few questions was, oh no, they're still doing this speed round thing, and the question was, someone famous who used an axe. And Big Boss Man goes, Paul Revere. And then he just throws his hand on his face like, I am a fucking idiot. And Macho Man comes over and consoles him. Macho Man comes over and gives him an attaboy. The host goes, I said they're the good guys, not the smart guys.
So good.
Boss Man just looks like a blithering idiot.
So, I at first was like, why is Boss Man on the good guy side?
Boss Man spent most of the time when he was in the blue outfit as a good guy. He went back and forth a fair amount, but for my whole childhood, he was a good guy.
I just laughed because all I think about with him now is how he's the biggest a-hole in wrestling.
You think about him feeding Al Snow's dog to him. Yeah, I was like, good guy, my ass. He's the worst human being in history. The character Big Boss Man is who we're talking about Trailer. Here. Yeah. They in the YouTube video that we watched, they go to a commercial, or they break, right, as if they're going to go to a commercial, and the camera just zooms in on Papa Shango's tattoos. And I was like, in the 90s, was that like a point of interest? Like, ooh, look at the man with tattoos.
Yeah, he must be a bad guy.
Yeah. And then they come back from that commercial and they go, they like play for real now, right? And this was one of the funniest parts to me. The question was, things that you buy that you couldn't afford. And Tatanka got 2 tries on this question.
Yeah.
They came around him twice. His first answer was medical insurance, and the whole crowd went, huh? And Macho Man yelled out, what? And then the host goes, what? And Macho goes, this is our Native American Tatanka. And the host goes, oh, good to meet you, Tatanko.
He pronounced his name wrong the entire show.
Tatanko. So I was wondering, what is more sad? is it sad that a professional wrestler who's an independent contractor answered that he couldn't afford medical insurance, or that a native answered that he couldn't afford medical insurance? I was like, oh man, this isn't good. They they go down the line, they go through everybody, they're on their last like X or strike or whatever they call it. It comes all the way back around to Tatanka on the same question, and he spaces it.
Oh, he just
he just stares. he can't get an answer out for the same question. Could have said boat, anything. That I was like, man, this is not a good look for Tatanka. In addition to being the only shirtless person up there. There was a part where they get up to do the little fast money or whatever, and and the question was things you do to blow off steam. Tatanka says exercise, and out loud I went, good answer. And it was on the board, and then Jimmy Hart had a chance to top it, and Jimmy Hart goes, jog. It's like, okay, I can't figure out which one of these two people is dumber. The announcer goes, jogging is exercise.
Well, he also makes a comment about, he said something about walking, which is the only thing Jimmy Hart can do. Or he makes some comment.
And then Jimmy Hart changes his answer to shadow boxing.
Yeah, that's because that's like, not oddly specific.
Yeah, we polled 100 people who aren't MMA fighters or wrestlers.
I was shocked. I kept yelling at my phone watching this. I was like, why isn't anyone saying drinking? And it wasn't on there.
No, that's a good answer. Good answer. And then they get towards the end. But at this point, the bad guys have $0 or points or whatever it is. The bad guys have collected nothing. And the last thing, the triple point word score or whatever it is things that are a station.
Yeah.
And the good guys just run through it. That's an easy one. But when they got to Boss Man, he said fire station. Now, if you're dressed as a cop and you're a policeman from Cobb County, Georgia, and you are the law, shouldn't he have said police station?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was a little odd. They get the good guys clean house. They get to the end, and it's the whole thing where you separate them and you go through the like list of answers or whatever. My takeaways from this were, he said a ton of times that they pulled women. They pulled 100 women, blah, blah, blah. And they said things that come in a push button can. Tatanka answered toothpaste.
So this one threw me off because I went, push button can. The first thing I thought was cheese.
Yeah.
I guess my white trash is showing. But I was like, what comes in a push button can?
I've never heard that term before.
I don't.
Like I've heard, like aerosol can or something like that, like spray can, but I've never heard push button can. But I've definitely never seen toothpaste that came that way. And then the other one that was funny to me was country where there's people who have long names,
long last names.
And long last names. And Tatanka said Africa, which is not a country; it's a continent.
I didn't even think about that.
No one did. No one. When they like showed the answers and it wasn't up there, they were shocked. Macho Man was like, "Oh man, like I thought that was going to be up there."
I said Russia first. First thing that popped in my head was Russia.
I would have said Italy, but yeah, or Greece. The Africa just made me laugh. So Boss Man comes out, he does this thing, the good guys win, whatever. And then there's 4 more episodes of this if you're so inclined to see how it goes down. I actually am.
I would love to have some of these with Steve Harvey as the host.
I think there are some with wrestlers and Steve Harvey.
Because that guy is hilarious.
I think there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down of wrestlers on Family Feud and other game shows. I found a ton of them on YouTube. So Are you ready for some of the comments on this video?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so some of these made me laugh so hard. So from Wildberry Jam Ultra Cosmic, he says, this was 1 year ago. He says Papa Shango should be a surprise entry at the Royal Rumble, somewhere in the middle. R.I.P. Crush and Randy and Boss Man. And then a line break in a parentheses, and Sherry, Rude, Hawk, Bulldog, Perfect, Anvil, Piper, Warrior, Dusty, Andre, Owen, and Pillman, Mean Gene, and The Brain, Chris Benoit, Dynamite Kid, and Texas Tornado. So YouTube RIP all of these people that had nothing to do with this.
I mean, RIP, but it has nothing to do with.
He just listed the people, his knowledge of deceased wrestlers. He just wanted you to know that. So those RIPs are very much appreciated. Wildberry Jam Ultra Cosmic.
Who comes up with freaking names?
Rashawn Mungo, 1 month ago, says, how you going to be a heel and play for charity? Psychology is whack. Got to have them say, screw charity, and then do a job. The psychology on Family Feud is whack.
Oh, that's awesome.
This one. Okay. Erock Vids is not happy about this at all, according to the punctuation. He said, wasn't Reverend Slick a heel manager? What's he doing on the babyface side? That was a year ago. This guy was upset about this a year ago.
And he's been harboring that for a long time.
Oh. All right. This guy's also been harboring something for a very long time. So, Bomber Monk Assassin 35. I always wondered, why didn't the WWF superstars appear to do an episode of Family Feud during the 1994-95 season when Richard Dawson came back to host? He always wondered that.
It's been on his mind for almost 20 years now.
All right, this is the last one and my favorite one. So, like I said before, listeners, go back and check out our watch along of WrestleMania 9. It is the biggest shit show WrestleMania ever, and it's most of these guys. This episode of Family Feud was promoting that. So I just now realized that this comment is also Wildberry Jam Ultra Cosmic.
This bothers him so much that he's left multiple comments.
In addition to his list of deceased wrestlers, he says, WrestleMania 9 features one of the best Intercontinental Championship matches of the early 90s. Tatanka versus HBK to a countout or something, but a really good showing. Money Inc. also retained the tag team titles in a big match there. Did Jimmy Hart really not know the Wizard of Oz? That's all one comment.
This dude's my favorite guy ever. We need to try to get him to subscribe to our channel. Leave some comments.
Thank you very much, Wildberry Jam Ultra Cosmic. Oh, man. All right. Well, like I said, go watch all of the wrestlers who are on Family Feud. All those videos. I'm going to link this specific one in the description, so you guys can check that out too. You can find us on the YouTubes. Obviously, if you're watching this, you have already. Kick that subscribe button. If you're listening to us on the podcast, you can subscribe on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever they got podcasts. You can find us at Good Bad Wrestling on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Stick around after this because we're going to give you the news of the week in wrestling, and we will catch you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.